Yeah, good day, guys. How you doing? Welcome to today's live stream. Today we'll be talking about how to add, how to create an S3 bucket using Terraform. Firstly, we'll be going through the creation of this S3 bucket manually, and also we'll be looking at how to create it using Terraform. So it's going to be a very short live stream. So I hope we are ready to learn a lot in this short video. So as we proceed, so I'll be showing you the steps to take and also some important aspect of the S3 bucket, which you could use Terraform to deploy, and other basic things you need to know about creating an S3 bucket using Terraform. So let's begin. Okay, so firstly you have to let me be sure my it's working. So first thing we have to do here is create an S3 bucket using our management console. So this is going to be quick and easy. So another thing we have to know that an S3 bucket is just a cloud storage provided by the AWS, that is Amazon Web Service. So it helps to store files in form of objects. So you have your file in metadata format, and also it's used for its support scalability, and also it could take up to 5 terabytes of data at once. So let's create our first bucket. So we have no bucket at the moment, so we could create using this. So the bucket name must be unique. Let's call it Applied YouTube bucket. Yeah, Applied YouTube bucket. So this already. Let's use it. So we could select when creating this bucket. We could select from that is, we could copy files from an old bucket into this new bucket we're just creating, but we are not doing that here since we don't have any bucket at the moment. So this is just a permission for the S3 bucket. So you are going to select, if you read through this, you are going to select who should have access to this bucket. Should it be publicly accessible or not, and also some other settings here which you could select if you want. So, but that's not it's not in the scope of this lecture. So when you talk about versioning, it means having multiple versions or multiple variants of your S3 bucket. Multiple variants of your S3 object in your S3 bucket. So when you upload the file on your S3 bucket, for example, now, so all you just have to do is, this version will help you to multiply this this object, that is this file, in various variants. So you are going to have like maybe 5 or 10 of that file in your S3 bucket. So this will help you to to retrieve and preserve and restore every version of your file. So we could add a tag. So a tag is just used for identification. So test YouTube test or something. So we are done with that. So default encryption, so we are disabling any encryption for now. So object lock, so we are not using object lock. So let's create our first S3 bucket using this. Okay, bucket name must not contain uppercase. Another thing it should not. And yeah, let's go. Here we go. So we have our first S3 bucket here, which is YouTube, which is the Aclad YouTube bucket. So it's our S3 bucket. So we could start uploading files on this bucket, for example. Let's just say test, for example. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So we're saving it now. It is the destination of the of the file. So that's the folder it's going to save. So we could have different folders as well in this bucket. So the permission of the file, should it be publicly accessible or it's a private file which can be seen by the public or which cannot be accessed by the public. So this is the properties. So we'll be looking into this. It's not in the scope of the class of the live stream, sorry. So we upload. So it's uploading, done. So we have our first file in our S3 bucket. So let's move to the buckets. So here is our bucket and we have a file in it already. So here's the file. So if you have multiple files, you could see everything here lining up like this. So you see you could have thousands of files. So we'll be deleting this. Okay, let's not actually delete for now. Just for testing purpose. So now we'll be creating our S3 bucket using Amazon, using Terraform, sorry. So firstly we have to save our file. Should we create a new folder? For ease, let's create a new folder. S3 buckets Terra. That's a new folder. So in our new folder, let's call it S3 Terra. And don't forget we have to save that as .tf. Yeah. So we're good to go. So the first thing we have to do here is to use our resource. And also if you don't understand this, you have to check our previous videos. So we have to use the AWS as a resource, AWS S3 Bucket as a resource type. So we have to give it a name. What name can we give it? Let's say okay, security tests. Yeah, so that's our resource name. This is the resource type. So it's this going to help us to create an S3 bucket, and this is just acting as a resource name, which whenever we want to access the value or the result in this, that this code is going to produce. So we could use AWS S3 Bucket dot S3 Test, because we could have multiple resources like this. That is, we could have another bucket like this. So this we might say finance, for example. So this will be accessed using something like this. Finance, okay. Using something like this. So the value will be accessed using something like this. Why this will be accessed using something like this, the security test .id or whatever you want to use there. So these are the values. So that's why we have to specify a unique name here. So now to create our S3 bucket, this is just an example showing you the reason why we need to have a unique name here. So creating our bucket now. So we have a compulsory value, which is the bucket name. So the bucket name can be let's say it must be unique, so no capital letter. So bucket tests YouTube, for example. So another thing we could have here is the tag, which we used the other time, if you can still recall. So we use the tag. What's wrong? Strange. So the description, and we have to describe our tag. Let's call the security bucket. Yeah, so we're good to go now. So let's look at something that is one more thing. We should be our let's add a file to this bucket. So if we want to do that, our resource type will be AWS S3 Bucket _objects. So what this does is that it's just going to help us upload a file into this newly created bucket. So we have the contents as usual. So the contents, let me create a file on the TMP folder. Dash, okay, cd TMP. Yeah, so list. PWD. Okay, so it makes sense. How is it? Why is clear now? That's strange anyway. Let's use our bash. What's it called? So let's do cd slash tmp. Is it okay? I knew something was wrong. So we're in our tmp folder. So let's create a file. Let's say tests buckets .txt. Okay, let's try to put something in our buckets. In our file, sorry. So we save it. So that's making a lot of sense now. So we have our file now. Let's start. Let's confirm. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So this is the value this is the content of the file. So that is what we'll be using for this file. So slash tmp slash tests buckets.txt. Yeah, so it's making a lot of sense now. So we have to provide a key. What key should we use? Test.txt file. Yeah, I think we are good to go, except that we have to specify a bucket, and the bucket we are going to specify should be the value of the bucket, as I've stated before, that if you want to use this bucket now, so you have to use something like this. Yeah, so this is what we are going to use for this bucket. So if you have another bucket that you want to use and the name of the bucket is different, so you might do something like, maybe the name is great something, so that's how it will work. But for now we are using a security test, which means the result of this created bucket will be appended here. Yeah, so we are good to go. Let's clear this, and yeah, hopefully it will work. So let's hope. So let's try to save our file. Yeah, so our file has been saved, and let's move to the bucket folder. I'm not sure of the right location, to be fair. I think I will have to check that. Okay, I think it's test it. I think it's test it. Then list. I'm not sure. Okay, I think it's under test it. Okay. No. Let's see. My first time. No. So we probably missed something. Oh, sorry. So cd test error. This file, nothing. Oh, strange. Let's open the terminal with this. Learn it. Is it under learn it? I'm not sure about that. It's not. So where did we save it? So let's resave it for ease. Apologies for that. Okay, it should be under Terraform. Okay, we don't have any folder here. That's strange. So let's save it under a new folder. Save as. Let's create something new. Under here. So we have Terraform, the S3 Terraform. Yeah, S3 Terraform. So S3 Terra. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense now. So desktop. So cd Terraform S3 Terraform. Yeah. So whenever we have something like this, the first thing you have to do is to do the Terraform validator. And it work. I'm not sure. So we have an error here. Line 8, which states that, oh, we missed something. Oh, interesting. We didn't add our resource name, SS3 Bucket update, upload txt. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's try it again. So basically, you should check our other videos if you want to understand this process. What validates does, Terraform validate does is it helps to check if the code is well written or if there's any error in the code. Well, we have a larger error. Okay, now so the issue here is that we've not done the Terraform init. So the Terraform init will help us to initialize the folder. Looking at this folder now, so we just have the Terraform file here. So to initialize it, we have to do the Terraform init. So it will download all the necessary plugins needed for this code to run. So let's wait while that loads. So looking at our bucket, our management console here, you can see we have just a bucket. So if you want to understand how to set up this S3 console CLI, that is the CLI, so you could check our other videos where we've discussed about that. So now we have just one bucket here. So Terraform init has downloaded the necessary plugins needed for this file to run. So now we are going to do the Terraform plan, so which is going to show us the plan execution. So what the things that are going to happen here. Okay, we've not created a region, so let's try to cancel this. Okay, let's try to cancel this. Okay, so basically we have to create a region. So let's say VA and let's say provider.tf. So we have a resource and should have something like AWS. Okay, don't let us use this for now because due to time constraints. So DD. So let's just create this. Due to our time constraint, we've discussed about that in our previous what's it called, our previous lessons. So make sure you check that out. But basically, what you just have to do is to create a provider file, the TF file, and also add the region provider, which is the AWS resource. So it's going to have a region argument in it. So you are going to specify the region. So I don't want to actually do that. So just a minute, please. Yeah, so I'm back. Yeah, sorry about that. So basically we don't want to provide a region, but okay, let's run our Terraform init again. So it's going to initialize the directory. So that's done. So Terraform plan So it's going to ask us to resources temporarily unavailable. Okay, state lock. I think we have an issue here due to the state lock. So let's try to remove our state lock file. There, our Terraform state file. So remove Terraform state. So okay, let's try to run the Terraform plan. Or instead of actually inputting the region ourselves, let's create the provider.tf so that it will ease our issue. So we have to just do something like provider, then AWS is the provider, then we are going to have something like a region. We should state the region we want. So let's just doing it on the US or US West 2. And I use US S3 a lot. East 2, which is around over here. So I think that's okay for now. So let's do the Terraform init. So we don't need that anymore, but let's do it. Let's do Terraform plan. Oh, tags. Wow, another error here. So we have an error here. So tags. Yeah, so the plan is generating, so it's going to tell us everything that's going to happen. So let's wait while that works. Yeah, so what's going to happen here is whenever you see the positive sign, we've explained that before, so it means something is going to be created. So this will be created, this will be created. So these are the results that we're going to get. So this is the file, the content of the file we are going to use, which is present at the test bucket at the TMP folder. So the next thing is to run Terraform format, just to format our file to make it look good. Not necessary, but the next thing is Terraform apply. So let's try that. So it may take a little bit of time, not really. So yes, I want that to happen. We approve of it. Yes, okay, creating. Yeah. So let's just remain patient until the file, the bucket gets created and the update gets added to the bucket. So we have an error here. So no such bucket. Interesting. So I think the issue here is we don't have a bucket of such. Are you sure? Got it test. What's happening? Okay, let's try to debug our code. I think we did everything as expected. Yes, I think so. So I'm trying to debug the code. But first, let's check if our bucket was created successfully or not. I think the bucket was created successfully. Yeah, so here it is. So bucket test YouTube. Yeah. So let's try to confirm apply. It's actually going to get the bucket. interesting. Okay, I think this the easier method, or the easier way to go is actually putting the name of the bucket itself here and seeing what will happen. So let's go. The name should appear. I don't know why. Yeah. So creation. So we have our bucket, but I believe it should have worked. It should have worked. I think so. So let's see. I don't know why it worked now, but using the previous code should have worked. But let's agree to that. So yeah, so we're going like that and checking the S3 bucket to confirm if now. So our bucket, our file is there. So you can see the content of the file. So you can see the location, the size. So this is the URL of the file. So you just click it. It's not publicly accessible at the moment. So basically, that's all about this creating an S3 bucket using Terraform. So I hope you enjoyed the class. So it's as easy as that.